So, who do you have the hops for right now? Who do you have the hops for right now? As in, who are you crushing on? Who is the guy that is in your field of vision that you're like, that's the guy I like?
A human.
A human. So you have a human in mind. Does he have a name?
Yes.
What's his name?
I'm not sure.
Oh, you're not sharing that now. Okay. Jeffrey, do you have a girl in mind that is your sweetheart to be?
I don't have a girl.
Nope. And then Scott,
Oh yeah, my wife.
you married her. Perfect. I just like to start off really awkward right away and kind of make people uncomfortable. And it's kind of one of my giftings. I can't find it in the Bible anywhere, but I'm sure it's one of my giftings. I've been told that it's something that must be a gift or a curse.
Must have had fun making Sheena awkward today then.
I did, yep. And I put her to work pretty hard. So Scott gave me the question on dating, kind of along the lines of if you're not wanting to date, but you want to be friends with someone else who does want to date, how does that work? How do you maintain a friendship and not have it move to like a dating relationship? Very hard. Basically, I'm going to throw guys under the bus right off the bat. And a guy typically does not know how to be just a friend. So, if you have a male friend and you're a girl, and you want to just be friends, he will say all the right things of, yes, I want to be just friends. But he does not know how to just be friends. Because every time you're nice to him, every time you do something godly, it's maybe she's the one, but we're just friends. Or she's really godly, which is very attractive, but we're just friends. But we're just friends, and here's the clincher, it's always we're just friends with the possibility that it might be more. I don't know if you've ever watched the movie Dumb and Dumber. Not necessarily a great movie to watch, but it can have some laughs. But in that movie, the one guy who, the Dumb and Dumber, they both act like morons in the movie, but the one guy, he's asking the girl, is there a chance that she would go out with him? She goes and says something along the lines of like 1 in a million, which basically is like, no, like never. And he's like, yes! There's a chance! There's a chance! And that's how guys are. As blunt as you can be, even if they want to really believe that, and that, yeah, we're just friends, inside is, there's still that chance. It might turn in, even if they don't mean to be that way, it's in there of wanting to be. And I'm saying that from a guy, so there might be other guys who go, that's not true. They're deceiving themselves, it is. So move from that to, what does God intend? In the Bible, Adam and Eve. Who gave Eve to Adam?
I don't remember.
You don't remember. Who gave Eve to Adam? God. God gave Eve to Adam. Adam didn't go looking and searching for a wife without God being a part of the story. God sent all the animals for Adam to name and said there was no helpmate found suitable. He named all these animals and none of them would be a suitable partner for Adam. So God then made Eve so that they would be partners. God gave Eve. And if you follow in the Old Testament, it switches a little bit from God giving the woman to usually the father of the household, the father of the son. So if you think about Isaac, Isaac's father sent out a servant to go find a wife for his son. For Isaac. And the servant goes out. So here's the father on behalf of the son finding a suitable spouse. But what the servant does when he goes out, he prays for specific signs from God that the woman who comes and waters my camels and gives me water and also waters the camels, may that be the woman that you have set aside for Isaac. So again, it comes back to not Isaac the son going around going, oh, which girl is the right one for me? Which girl is the one I get to marry and call my own? Who's the prettiest one? Who's the smartest one? It's not Isaac. Someone totally disconnected from Isaac's will, it's a servant of the Father, goes out and relies solely on God to give the sign that Rebekah is the one to bring back. If you follow further, when you get kings and queens in the Bible, God tells the kings, don't go find wives among the other nations. And every time they do, they disobey God, and then it goes downhill. God doesn't want to control. He doesn't want to say, here's who you have to marry, now listen to me. But he wants to be very included in all your life choices. And the purpose isn't for yourself. And often that's where we get mixed up. We think, I'm going to find the one to make me complete. When I find, for me, when I found Esther, I found the woman who would complete me. But that's not true. That's a lie. And, if Esther was here right now, she'd be like, what do you mean I don't complete you? And I would say, no, you do. Yeah, no, I didn't mean it quite like that. And I'd backpedal a little bit. But the truth is, as a single person, God has already made you a whole person. You don't need a person to be married to make you complete, because you're complete in God, period. But God allows us the gift of having a partner in our life. And some of us, he asks us to stay single our whole lives. And that's also a gift. And he says in the New Testament, where we get to be united more fully on focusing on God. And it says, because when you have a spouse, a specific someone, your desire is going to be for them. So for me, I have Esther that I want to make her happy. So even if I can't afford to buy her a jacket that she wants, I'm going to go find a way to make it happen, because I want her to be happy. So I'm going to go find that somehow to get her this special jacket. She didn't buy it today. She'll have it on Tuesday. But because I'm married, I am looking at ways to please my wife. And at the same time, I'm trying to also please God in my life. If you have the gift of singleness, your focus could fully be devoted on, I just want to please God, period. And you don't get pulled in any other direction. Now, in the Old Testament, where the kings got it wrong is they got many wives instead of just one, and concubines, and from other nations. Now they have all these women from other nations saying, oh, worship my God, do these sacrifices, and pulling in all these different directions. And that wasn't the women's fault, just in case we're getting the wrong picture. That was not following God's gift and instructions. It was doing things your own way. When I do pre-marriage counseling, which I've done a few weddings, as Scott mentioned that I did his wedding. Actually, I think the first time that I ran into him and Aaron together, I let them know, was their first date or second date?
It was like our second date.
I said, by the way, I do weddings. And that's kind of my line. But the truth is, yes, the truth is I do weddings. But when I do pre-marriage counseling, so when people are saying, we want to get married, they've already made the decision. I'm not making the decision whether they should or shouldn't get married. They've made the decision that they're going to get married. My job is to help them have the best chance possible of getting to a healthy marriage. And the best thing you can do if you decide you're going to get married to your spouse, whether you're male or female, this instruction's for both, the best thing you can do is give a whole self. You will not get wholeness marrying someone else. They will not complete you. Whatever struggles you have, whatever things that you have issues with, whatever weaknesses you have, will be hidden for a short time when you're infatuated with the honeymoon stage is what they call it, the dating stage, where those things just seem to fade for a while. But as time goes on, those things will come back and even stronger. So if you have a bad habit and that habit goes away while you're dating and first married, it's most likely not gone. It's going to come back, and it's going to come back with a vengeance because you never dealt with it. It's just something temporarily filled the gap. You can only give what you have. And if you are broken, you'll be married as a broken person. And the person you marry will not be able to fix you. It's not in their genes, it's not in their power to fix you, because more than likely, they're also a broken person. So it's two broken people coming together, and you can't fix each other. So in marriage, so even when people after they've been married and they do post-marriage counseling, saying, we would like some extra help poured into our marriage, not necessarily meaning that they're struggling, but that they need more help, then the same thing applies. I'll tell a wife, don't try to fix your husband. And I'll tell a husband, don't try to fix your wife. That's God's job. And that is a very personal journey where you can be support, but it's a personal journey where they can only get healing from God. That's where their true healing will come from. So you can walk alongside them, but you can't fix them. Same way as you can't be fixed by your spouse. No matter how many times you're told to do this better, or if you did it this way or whatever, that's not going to fix you unless you hear what God has to say on who you are. God completes you. No one else does. I'm going to go back to the whole dating question. So you're single, and let's say you're a girl, and you're single, and there's a guy, and the guy would like more than just being friends. And you want to maintain, I only want to be friends. I'm just telling you, the guy does not know how to turn off the switch in his head to switch on, we will just be friends, because there is this inner drive to want more. I want to have a family, I want to go deeper, I want to be attached to somebody. And so even if they say, yeah, we can just be friends, there's that inner thing going on, ticking, going, what if she's the one? You just don't know. And so if you're a female saying, I don't want that, I know God is guiding me, for instance, to go to the mission field, and so a dating relationship would hinder me obeying God. If you're going to hang out together, only be in groups, never just alone together. Because the more time it's just the two of you, the more, even as a girl, if you say, well, I'm only going to be a friend, the more time you're together, the more you have that time of growing close, hearing each other's brokenness. When you go to Bible college, or if you go to Bible college, it's joked that it's bridal college. Because people who go there, most don't say, I'm going there to find a spouse. But there's this in the back of your mind, I'm going there to serve God and find what God has for me, and which may include a spouse. Because one of the biggest attractions, especially if you're a Christian, mostly if you're a Christian, the biggest attraction you have is someone else who passionately loves God. So if you run into a guy and you see he passionately loves God, you'll find that you are drawn to his character. You'll be drawn to that. And if there's a girl who's just passionate about God, you're like, woo, that girl, there's a hotness about that, because she is seeking what brings wholeness, God. And so, when you pray for a future spouse, you want to pray, God, help me find who you are setting apart to best glorify your name. See, it's not about when I find Esther, I definitely selfishly found Esther, going, this is a girl who I'm really attracted to. But my prayer should have been, God, who do you have for me that will best glorify your name? Not, God, who do you have for me that I can marry and have a family and be completed? Because I actually should have found the completeness in Christ. Now, that's not to say that God didn't put Esther in my life. Because the summer I met Esther, I told God I'm going to give up looking for a wife. And I had, every girl was a potential. That it was like, she might be, how do I know which one is the right one? What if I find the wrong one? What if the right one would have been the right one, but I didn't meet her in time, and she found a different one that isn't the right one, but now, and it goes on and on. And I was very, very deep theological in my debate about how do I find the right one, and what if this conversation goes on and on and on. But I had told God I'm going to give up looking for the right one to serve you. And probably about a month after that, and I was serious with that, I thought when I said that to God, I thought, I'm going to be single now the rest of my life. So here I went from every girl I meet is a potential to, God, I'm giving that all up. I am going to be single the rest of my life. And that just sounded miserable to me. And it shouldn't have, but it did. And I met Esther about a month later, and then I prayed to God, and I said, God, why did you put Esther in front of me after I gave up looking for the right one? Why did you do this? And I blamed God for this pretty girl being in my life. It's like, so God, if this goes further and we get married, it's your own fault, because I gave it up and you put her in my life. And that's how I talk to God. I'm just like, it's your fault, God. Like, I didn't plan this. I promised I would be single, and you did this as if I had nothing to do with it. And that's just the way I was. The really neat thing for me is, so I met Esther the year I went to Bible college. So I met her before going to Bible college. And I know, because knowing who I am, I know going to Bible college as a single person, planning to, I'm just going to focus on God, I would have been easily distracted to all the very nice behaved girls there who were passionately seeking God for their lives. And so there would have been all these choices that I did not intend to go, oh, here's all these choices. But I would have been like, they're so godly, they love God so much, and that's such an attraction. And of course, I want a godly woman to have a family with. And so really meeting Esther before going to Bible college helped stop me looking, because now when I was at college, I actually could focus on just seeking God, because I had a girlfriend back home. So then none of these girls were potentials, because I have a girlfriend. And so it was God working in my life. But I'm just saying my priorities and how I prayed those prayers was really wrong. And I wasn't a whole person. And the best thing I could have done for Esther in our marriage would have been becoming a whole person with Christ first. And so, not that God doesn't honor us and work in our marriage and help us grow, but that's the best thing I could have done, is work on becoming a whole person and trusting God for all my needs, not thinking I get my needs met from someone else. So that's kind of my dating spiel. Other than, yeah, if you're a single girl and you want the guy who wants more, but you don't want him to want more, stop hanging out with him. End of the story. Like, I'm sorry, he may be a great guy. Stop hanging out, because he doesn't know how to turn it off. That's it.